Showing you today is how to assemble your t-shirt quilt top using sashing. What I'm going to do is tell a story with how you lay out the t-shirts. Some of the t-shirts that I have had, this is an Alpha Omega sorority shirt, and some of them had a front side and a back side with different content. So what I did was I didn't put them right beside each other because I wanted to have a variety of colorful shirts throughout, but I put them diagonal. And when I show you on the next scope, you will see that you will see how it's actually laid out. What we're going to do is the inner edges of your quilt. And I just have a long piece of sashing. What you're going to do, now this happens to be, it doesn't really matter, there's not a right side on this particular sashing, but if you were doing it with a print on one of them, you would want to have the right side facing right side. And you're going to line it up along the edge here, and you're going to use a 1/4 inch seam. You're going to go all the way to the end of your row here, and then you're going to trim it. Okay, and I had actually assembled my rows before I showed you this, so that's just letting you. And only on the inside. Let's say this was your outer edge here. You do not want to do that, and I will explain why in a moment. Now when you're assembling your rows, so we're going to assume that all of the inside of your shirts have been done, and I'm going to show you an example so you know what I'm talking about. Let me just turn this around. Okay, so this is your shirt. I'll just slide it down so you can see what I'm talking about. See how I have not done the outer edge, and this other outside edge is not done at this point. So what I started with was I sewed one end, and then I just kept, I'm going to slide it down because my camera's a little close. So I did all the inner ones here. Okay, that's pretty easy. Then only on the top row are you going to do the top and the bottom. So what I did was I had a really long piece of sashing. I made sure it was longer than the quilt top here. I put it, again, if you have a design on one side, you want right sides together. Okay, I'm going to show you the right sides together here. If you can see my stitching line, it's a 1/4 inch. Okay, and you're going to just stitch along the entire top row, and that's getting them all together. So again, as I mentioned, only on the top row of your quilt. You're also going to do the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to show you my next one over here. So that's our top row, and it has the top and the bottom done. Then for all of your subsequent rows, and mine's a 4x4 layout, so it has 4 rows of 4 shirts each. So see on the top here, there's no sashing on this top row because we already have it on the bottom of the other one. And I'll just show you when we're assembling it. See? Then that will match up there. So we don't need to do 2 of those, or else we'd have double the width. So now in all the subsequent rows, you're just going to do the entire bottom right here. Okay? And again, remember, you're going to have nothing on the outsides. Okay? So now this part I'm going to demonstrate for you. What we're going to do, so we're assuming that you've done all those steps, you're going to take, this is our top row. We are going to be assembling here. Now this is a very rough demonstration. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how. You want to make sure that the grid from each row is lined up, unless you're looking for an off center, but see how that would be off center. But in our case, we want to actually line it up. So what I do, you can even use a ruler edge or a straight edge from your sashing if you want, just to give you a guide. Make sure that you're happy with how straight it is. And I'm going to get my pins. So what I'm going to do with my pins on the sashing up here is I'm just going to mark where, when I'm sewing, I'm going to line up the next row. Okay, because we're going to be putting things right side together, so you're going to have some upside down parts. Tap for hearts if you know what I'm talking about. Give me some love out there, everybody. Anyone? You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we're going to use those pins. Whoops. Sorry, my little guy fell. So he's going to be on the bottom here with the pins. And these are really long pieces. So I'm going, and make sure it is directional. So, all right, so these are the same direction. I'm going to flip this upside down. And I'm going to line up my pins here. And I would do this for each grid across. I'm just doing a very quick demonstration. And then what I would do is I'm actually going to take the pin out, put it in, there is a seam line there, okay, and put it in the seam. And now I know I haven't sewn it, but again, quick demonstration here. Now look at how lined up that grid is. Okay, and that is how you get a nicely squared quilt top.